In this video, I will walk you through a detailed step-by-step guide to configure a Jenkins Linux agent. For this demonstration, I have set up an Ubuntu virtual machine using Oracle VirtualBox while the Jenkins server is running on a Windows 11 system. If you observe here, this is a Jenkins server that is running on Windows 11 machine. If you are interested in learning how to install and configure a Jenkins server on Windows 11, be sure to check out my previous videos. I will include the link in the description. This is the Ubuntu virtual machine created using Oracle VirtualBox. If you would like more details on how to create and configure an Ubuntu virtual machine on Windows 11, feel free to refer to my earlier videos. I will also share those links in the description. There are few preconditions that needs to be met before we begin configuring the Jenkins slave. The first precondition is to configure the SSH keys on a Ubuntu virtual machine. To configure the SSH keys, you need to use the command SSH keygen with the parameter -t refers to the type of the key as an RSA, -b number of bytes, and -c is your email ID. So type this command and press enter, and don't give anything, keep it as blank, press enter here. Here also don't give anything, just press enter. Again press enter, don't give anything. The key generation is success. This basically will generate two files under the .ssh folder under your home directory. So you will have to go to home directory, you will have to use the command cd with tilde /.ssh and then type a command ls. You can see it generated two files, id rsa and id rsa public. So it generated two files, one is with the private key, another one is the public key. So in order to configure a Jenkins, we also need to create one more file by the name called authorized keys. Let us go and do that. In order to create a file, you can use touch command with the file name. File name is authorized keys, and then you can also set the permission for this file. We can do chmod then 0777 authorized keys. This basically gives the complete permission, read, write and execute permission. After that, what you need to do, you need to copy the content of your public key into this particular file. So in order to do that, we need to install an editor. So in my case, I will be using gedit. Let us go and install the gedit. Let us use this command to install gedit. The command is sudo apt-get install gedit. This will ask for the password. Let's give our password. Now it start installing the gedit. Wherever it asks for continue, give it as capital Y. Once the installation is complete, then you can type a command ls-l. Then using gedit, you can open the file id rsa pub. Command is gedit then id rsa dot pub. If you give an ampersand, it will opens in a background. The process goes into background. Then you can copy this key. Then again you can open the file. Gedit authorized keys. And then come here, copy this content and then paste here and save. Okay, basically you need to copy the content of public key. Private key will be used by Jenkins in order to establish the connection with this virtual machine. Second precondition is about OpenSSH server. The OpenSSH server should be up and running in the virtual machine. To check if the OpenSSH is installed and properly configured and up and running, use the command systemctl status SSH. If it is configured properly and if it is up and running, then you can see the message active running. If you would like to learn more about configuring an OpenSSH server on an Ubuntu virtual machine, please refer to my previous video. I will also share the video link in the description. Once the first two preconditions are done, that is generation of SSH keys and the configuration of SSH server on the virtual machine, now it is a time to test the connection between the Windows host to the virtual machine. To test the connection between the Windows 11 machine where the Jenkins server is installed and with the Ubuntu virtual machine, you need to know the two parameters. One is the username of that you are using in your virtual machine, and second one is the IP address of your virtual machines. You can use the command who am I to know your username. Your username is a test row, that is the second part of it. The first part is your host name, second part is your username, and in order to get the IP address, you need to type a command ifconfig. Your IP should be in the range of 192/ something. So this is your IP address. Using these two, we can establish a connection. Let us go and do that. To test the connection from your Windows 11 machine, bring the command prompt and type the command SSH followed by your username, then @ symbol, then the IP address of your virtual machine. Then it will ask you to add this particular machine into known host. Then you can give as Y or S. Now it is asking for the password. You need to give the password that you are using to log in into your virtual machine. So while logging into the virtual machine, what is the password you are using? The same password you need to give it here. Now we have established the connection between the Windows 11 machine and the virtual machine. So from here you can do whatever command you want to execute, whatever command you want to execute directly at the virtual machine, you can also do it from our command prompt. Okay, for example, if I want to know what is my present working directory, I can just type a command pwd, or you can also go to a directory called /ssh, which we created recently, which has 3 files. Then you can also do a command ls. You see here, you can see authorized keys, id rsa pub. Okay, this is the same kind of command that we are executing from this terminal, right? Same command that we are trying to execute from the Linux terminal, we can execute from our command prompt. Okay, that is by establishing the SSH connection between the Windows machine and the Linux machine. The fourth precondition is to store the known host configuration on a Windows machine. If you remember, in a command line, when I tried to perform an SSH operation, it asked me to store the known host. By default, this known host will be stored under the user directory. Okay, let us go and examine that. As I told, Jenkins server expects this known host file under system32 folder. So this is the folder. So under which basically you need to create a folder by name .ssh. I will right click and create a folder by name SSH. And once this is done, we need to copy this file into the SSH folder. This will make sure that the Jenkins server which is running on an Windows 11 machine has an access to the Linux virtual machine. After this, you need to make sure that you install Java OpenJDK version 17 on the virtual machine. Once it is installed properly, then you will have to set the environment variable Java home, and also you need to give the path of your installation in the path variable. Let us go and do this. For the Java installation, first you need to update the package. I will use this command. This will take some time. Let us wait. Once it is done, you will have to use the command apt install OpenJDK 7 with the flag -y. Wherever it asks for continue, you have to give yes. It will take some time. Now the installation is complete. The next step is setting up the Java home variable. That we can do it by editing our bash rc profile. Let us go and edit the bash rc profile. So for that you need to open the file in a gedit. The file name is bash rc, I think .bash rc. File name is .bash rc. Let us go and open this file, and at the end you need to set two variables, the environment variables. One is the Java home. The syntax for setting is using the export command Java home to the path where the OpenJDK 17 is installed. The path, if you see here, it is installed on /user lib jvm java 17 OpenJDK. Okay, this is a path where it is installed. After that, you also need to set the path where the Java is installed onto the path variable. In order to do that, we'll have to use the command. So we are appending whatever there in the path with the Java home variable. Okay, so what you are doing, export path equal to the content of Java home, that is this one, then /bin. So it is pointing to the /bin directory, okay, where the Java executables are available like Java compiler and other things. Then :path, $path. So you are appending whatever is there in the path with the new value. Okay, so after this, just save this file and keep it in mind where this Java home environment variable is very important. You also need this variable while configuring your Jenkins Slave. Okay, so now for a time being, we can close this and we can exit this terminal and bring the terminal back. Then type Java --version to check whether the Java is installed properly or not. So you can see we have installed OpenJDK version 7.0.13. The last precondition is to create a workspace folder which acts as a remote directory while configuring the Jenkins Slave. Okay, let us go and create a folder. So I will go to cd/var directory, under which I will create a directory using command mkdir by name Jenkins workspace. you cannot create, so you'll have to use sudo for that. Use the password, folder will be created. This is a folder, and you'll have to change the permission, so you can do this using chmod 0707 Jenkins workspace. So when it is asking for the permission, let us use sudo, so the permission is also changed. Now let us type ls minus l. You can see this turned into a green, and if you see, this has got the complete permission including the execution permission. Now we are basically ready. Now we are ready to configure this particular virtual machine as an Jenkins slave or a Jenkins node. This configuration can be done from the Jenkins server side. Let us go and do this. So in order to add a node, first you have to go to manage Jenkins. Under manage Jenkins, there is a nodes. You can add or remove the nodes. Let us click on add node, and here add a plus button to add a new node. Give a node name as Ubuntu Slave. Take it as a permanent one. This is not the one which is managed at the cloud, so we will give it as a permanent agent. After this, you need to give a short description why it is being used. This is for running Jenkins job on Linux machine. Jenkins job. Sorry. Jenkins job on Linux machine. And after that, you have to give a number of executor. Number of executor basically indicates how many Jenkins job you can run parallelly. This cannot be a random number. This also needs to be calculated based on the capacity of your virtual machine. That is determined by the number of CPU that you allocated while creating the virtual machine. I have given it as a 4 core. So for a time being, I will add 2 as a number here. So I can allow the 2 parallel jobs to run on this machine. If the third job enters, that has to be wait in a wait state till the previous jobs are finished. So this is about the remote root directory. That was what I was talking about, the precondition. So if you see here, we have created a folder called Jenkins workspace, right? Let us go to that. This is a folder that I was talking about during the precondition section. Let us copy this path and let us go to our configuration and add this path. And the labels, I can add it as Ubuntu. This label is really helpful. That will help you to group the type of the machines. For example, if you're working in a big organization, then you have a pool of resources, pool of machines are given to you to run the Jenkins job. Then there is a set of Linux agents, there is a set of Windows agents. So you can give the labels to these machines so that we can easily identify them. Okay, it is basically a logical grouping of the resources. Okay, of your nodes or of your agents basically. Okay, so usage, I will keep it as this node as much as possible, or you can also use only build jobs with the label expression matching to this node. So I will use the first option, use this always as much as possible. And a launch method, I will use launch using SSH because I have configured SSH keys I have also installed OpenSSH server, so I'll be using the launch via SSH in order to launch. And here it will ask the few questions like the host name of your virtual machine. I think my host name here is test troop. I'll copy this. I will add this. Then I need to give a credential. So for a time being I have not created any credentials to communicate. So we will create a credentials. And here you can you have only one option, the kind of credential. It is with SSH username and the private key. You can give an ID. I will give as SSH Ubuntu Slave, just an identifier to connect with Ubuntu Slave, and the username is test troop. You can also get your username from here. Copy this username and then you have to add the private key. Sorry, you have to add the private key. Directly you can enter. Then you click on add, and the private key you will have to take it from your SSH folder. So I can do .ssh. Then I will give ls-l. Then I have to use gedit and give id RSA. id RSA is a file where the private keys are stored. I have to copy from this point to this point. Copy this key, come here and paste it here. Okay, without any space. Okay, there should not be any new line. Just copy paste as it is. Then now click on add. Then so this is the one. I think I missed test true. Doesn't matter. This is just an ID. Click on this, and then availability. Keep this agent online as much as possible. Yes, we can give this. And finally, you need to set an environment variable. That environment variable is basically a Java home. So you can go back here, close this. You can do a print n here. Print n with the key as with the pipe as Java home. Basically you have to grep here. Okay, print with grep. Grep is for searching. Yes, this is the one. So copy the value here, come back, put it here, and again go back and take this. Now save it. Once you save, it will try to make a connection with your Ubuntu Slave. The agent is offline because it is failed to launch the agent process on it. See for more data. Okay, let us see what is happening. Authentication failed. SSH authentication is failed. Credential using the public key. The host key matches the key in the host one. The connection will be allowed. Connection is closed. Server 1 private key. Authentication failed. Okay, we will try to debug this, why it is happening. In order to debug, so make this agent as temporarily offline by clicking on this particular item. Yeah, for debug. I found out a root cause for this problem. This is mainly due to the old SSH algorithm that I was using while generating the key. Let us first go and delete the SSH folder. For that I have to use sudo rm-rf.ssh, and after that we will generate a SSH key using the new algorithm, and command is with -t as this format. Type is the ed25519. Don't give anything, don't give anything, don't give anything, just press enter. Your key will be generated. You have to go to cd.ssh. Now type ls-l. You get two files. Along with that, we have to also create one more file called authorized keys. Let us use the command touch. Then paste this. This will create a file. Now we have to open gedit and take the public key, that is .pub, and we'll also have to open authorized file, authorized keys, and from this copy this and paste it here and save both of these files and close it. And after that you'll have to change certain permission for both the SSH file as well as the authorized keys files. So you can do this via using the chmod command. You have to use sudo and the command, and again you will have to use change the command, change the permission for the SSH file, sorry, authorized keys. Yeah, both of them are done. And after that you will have to restart the SSH. Okay, the command for this is okay. Now your configuration is ready basically, and if you want you can also test the configuration. To test the configuration, let us bring in the command prompt in the Windows machine and type the command and give the password of your Linux host. Connection is successful. You can also type, you can also execute some commands, like for example present working directory and things like that. Once it is done, just exit from this and we can close the command prompt. Now the test is, now the test connection is also established. The only thing that you need to do is you will have to go to the Jenkins the key configuration, and you will have to update the private key. So for that, let us go to .ssh and do gedit the private key and copy this private key. Copy this private key and let us go to the Jenkins server, under which you'll have to go to dashboard. It is taking time, it's a bit slow. Then go to manage Jenkins. And under manage Jenkins, I think it is taking time. You have to go to credentials. Let's go to credentials and let us edit this. Go to update, go to the private key and let us enter the replace, and from here copy and paste it here. Save it. Yeah, now it is ready to use. Now let us go back to dashboard. And go to the Ubuntu Slave. Is offline. Now bring this back to online. Yeah, this is online now. This is working fine. And in case if you want to make it as offline, you can temporarily put it to offline just for test. Make it as go to offline, and you can also bring it to online. Now it is running fine. You can also see the logs. See, the connection is successful. It is able to make a connection with the virtual machine, that is a Linux, and this is working fine. So now using this Jenkins slave, we can create some jobs under Jenkins server and make this job to run on this particular slave. Maybe just executing few commands or cloning the code from particular Git repository and things like that, which is needed basically to perform this CI/CD operations. Let us try to create a Jenkins job that will try to run on a recently configured the Ubuntu slave and try to clone a repository from the GitHub. Let us try to see how to do this. If you want to understand how to create an account and how to create a repo within GitHub, please refer to my earlier video, and I will also try to share this link in the description. In order to clone a GitHub repository onto a virtual machine, you need to have a Git tool installed on your virtual machines. You can go and check if Git is already installed using a command git -version. If you get this prompt, that means that Git is already installed. So if it is not installed, you can install the Git using the command sudo apt install git -y. You can use this command to install Git. After this, second thing that what you need to do in order to work with Git repository is you will have to configure your public key in the GitHub. So in order to do this, you have to open your public key, which is stored under .ssh. We will use gedit then dot ssh slash id dot pub, then copy this key, then you have to go to GitHub, and under GitHub you have the I think there is a settings. Under the settings you have SSH and GPG keys. Go here and add a new SSH key. So copy this key and give a title as SSH Ubuntu Slave. It is just a name, Ubuntu Slave. Then add SSH key here. I have to enter my password. The configuration is done now. So let us go back to my repository here. Yeah, I think Jenkins Python test. Here, come here and copy this. Go to the virtual machine, close this. Let us create a folder here, sudo mkdir as git clone. So it is asking for the password, mkdir, sorry. So then let us go to this particular directory and then use the command to clone. So I have to use the command git clone. Permission denied. I think I have to give a permission, I guess. So I can use ch mode 077, that is clone. Sorry. Then I have to go inside git clone, try to execute the command git clone. Yes, add it. I have to give it as yes. This will be added and the code is cloned here. So if I type ls-l and then cd Jenkins ls-l, you can see the code from this particular git repo is cloned here. You can see all these files and folders. Okay, so similarly we will try to do the same exercise using a Jenkins job. What I will do, I will create a Jenkins job that will go and clone this particular repository onto the Linux machine. Okay, so let us go to the machine, go to dashboard, and in order to work with the Git, you will have to configure a tool. You can go to slave, under configure you have to go to the slave, under configure there is at the end there is a tool location, and by default it will not be selected. Select this and then add, and I am using the Git as a tool, and the location for Git, I have to come here and I have to type which Git. It will give me the path. I will copy this, then I will come to configuration. I will add this, then I will save this. Okay, so the tool is also got added here. and after that I have to come to dashboard, then my views. Here I think here new item, then I will add it as Ubuntu test, just a name. I will click as a freestyle project, then I will give it as OK. Description to clone GitHub repo. Then I will want to restrict this build to only run on Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu Slave. That is the name of my machine. Also you can otherwise you can also use the label. I have given the label as an Ubuntu. Then I want to use the Git as a source control system. Then I have to copy this. Basically what you have to do, click on the code. When you come inside your repository, click on a code and take SSH1, copy this, come here, give this, and after that you need to use the credential. I will be using the Ubuntu Slave credential, and after that I will have to clone the branch. I think the branch here is, if you see the branch is the main branch. I will add the branch as main branch. Then I think that's all, right? Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. And I will apply this, I'll save this, and I will try to build this. I can click here, then I can go to console log and try to see what is happening. It is trying to execute my job onto the Ubuntu machine under the workspace /var Jenkins workspace Ubuntu test. Ubuntu test is the name of my Jenkins job. So it will create a directory. This is what I gave it as a remote working directory, under which it's created a folder called workspace, under which again it has created a folder which is the name of your Jenkins job, and then it will be using the git command. So this command that I have configured as part of in the slave, I have given the tool configuration as /user bin git as a git tool. It will be using that, okay, and then it will trying to clone it. Okay, so this job is successful now. Now let us go and see under cd/var, then I have Jenkins, under which workspace, under which my name Ubuntu test, name of my job. If I see, it has cloned all the code base from GitHub repo. So if I go back to my GitHub repo here, these are the folders and files you can see. Similarly, you can also see them here. So this is how basically you can configure the Ubuntu virtual machine as an slave and try to clone the code and perform the different operation. You can run the test, then you can package the entire code, complete CI/CD operations you can perform using this Jenkins slave. Okay. That brings us to the end of this video. In this video, we walk through the complete process of configuring an Ubuntu Jenkins slave from Windows Jenkins server. We begin by setting up all the necessary prerequisites, including generating and configuring SSH keys on Ubuntu machine, ensuring the OpenSSH server is running on the Ubuntu machine, verifying the SSH connectivity between the Windows and the Ubuntu machine, configuring the known host on the Windows machine, installing the Java OpenJDK 17 on the Ubuntu machine, and created a dedicated workspace folder on the Ubuntu machine. Additionally, we also established a secure connection between the Ubuntu machine and a GitHub. Finally, we demonstrated how to create a Jenkins job to successfully clone a repository from the GitHub to the Ubuntu slave. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more insight on how to advance your testing career.